Okay, so today we have the 395 tore apart a little bit. As you can see, I have a valve missing. That is the valve for the bucket. These big long screws hold it in. 3 valves together like that. Right there. This is the servo for that said valve. This here is the valve block. And this is the valve. Okay, now I'll tell you what was going on. So when I have a delay set, so the pump stays on. It ramps in and out slowly, so when you're continuously moving, pump stays on for 1 second after you let go of the stick, or from full throttle and back down to 0. Takes 1 second. So pump was on, continuous pressure on the valve block would put pressure on the servo because, okay, let me back up for a second. So when I let the pump turn off all the way, things would work just fine. It would move fully, full speed, bucket would move as fast as I have it set to. But if I moved back and forth, or I was moving up and down, and I tried to do that, which those up and down and the bucket is on the same pump, same valve body, I guess, 3 valves right there. I was having troubles with my bucket going really in and out really slow. And then I looked at the valve, or at the servo while I had it running, and I could see, just pretend this is the one, I could see this bracket that the servo bolts to. I could see it flexing slightly in and out. So I was like, well, what the heck? Something is putting pressure on. I figured there was a seal gone. That was not the case. Turns out this screw right there has a washer on it. That screw was backed out. That washer keeps the valve, this shaft, from going in there too far. That screw is backed out, and your servo connects to that end of it, and it was putting pressure on the valve, pushing the valve into the servo while it was under pressure trying to move it, which was causing it to turn really hard, and that was causing it to not work properly. The way I found that out was I took this bracket off that the servo was attached to. I put the servo back on the valve, and I held it with my hand, and it pinched my finger in between the 2 servos right there. And that was a lot tighter, or it was turning a lot harder than it should. It should turn very smoothly. I turned the pump off on the controller, tried it again, and it turned very smoothly as it should. Now, obviously, under pressure, there's going to be a little bit of resistance, but shouldn't be that much because everything's covered in oil inside of it. So, tore it apart, and that there screw was backed out, I would say 3 millimeters. I think it was rubbing on the end of this case, actually. This is a backing plate that goes on there. So this valve, or I'll show you, it goes in just like so. Just got to make sure. Yeah, you got to make sure it's on the right side. There you go. That goes in there like so. It sticks out a little bit at the end for the servo. And then this plate right here with the O-ring, I got to clean it before I actually put it on, but it goes on there with 4 screws. And that just seals this end of it. And also, I guess if that screw ever comes loose a little bit, it keeps it from backing out all the way. You notice a problem before it becomes a big problem. So yeah, if that ever happens, what I just did was I pulled the screw out all the way. I blew it off with compressed air, made sure most of the oil was off of it, of course. I used a little bit of red Loctite, just a tiny, tiny little dab. Looked like there was some on there. Must have been blue Loctite, something not as strong. Put some red stuff on it, put it back in as tight as I could manage with holding the valve in my hand, because you can't put pliers on it because you don't want to score the valve. That's going to cause leaks down the road. Probably almost immediately if you do that. So I just got it as tight as I can with my hand. With red Loctite, that should be fine, I would think. If not, I can always wrap it in a bunch of towel and then grab it with pliers, that type of thing. So that's how I hope I fixed it. We'll see when it's back together. I would imagine that will fix it though. Just if you ever run into this, you take the hose off, put some paper towel or shop towel or something down, because my bucket wasn't all the way down, so I decided to push a bunch of oil out. So I got it contained pretty quick. But other than that, this machine's been pretty good. Actually, yesterday, there's 5 pins in there that hold the final drive gears on. Sheared all 5 pins that are inside of this that hold the gear on. So what I did is, instead of waiting, I'm gonna talk to Jackson at Toucan and get a couple spare plates coming. But in the meantime, I drilled holes exactly where they broke off, welded in new 3mm pins. I drilled the hole through the plate and welded pins in from the back side, or from the outside, and it works. I turned the track percentage down to 65% now, and I have a delay set on that as well, just like the hydraulic pumps. I think I have an 8 or a 0.8 second delay set. I had that set already, but I think the tracks being too fast may have caused that. And I'm in some pretty rocky stuff here. I get rocks and stuff just like right there. I'll have to get that out before I go. But yeah, like rocks like this get in everywhere. I'll have to use some needle nose to get them out, but yeah, I think that definitely caused the problem, it being too fast. Anyways, that's dealt with. That's working just fine for now. Hopefully that fix stays working. That would be nice, but I'm gonna get a couple spare ones coming just to be sure. So if you guys have one of these machines, I would recommend maybe getting a spare plate. Just the end plate is all you need. Those pins broke off, so I would recommend having a spare one of them kicking around. I put a couple washers when I had it apart in the spring that holds this idler wheel in, just so it has a little bit more tension. It seems to not because backing up, the track would loosen off a lot. Pulling this idler in, it doesn't do that it still does it, but just not quite as bad. The track seems to stay on a little bit better. Yeah, I'll get this valve put back in, and I'll show you guys what it should look like when it's all together. So this right here is what that end cap looks like when it's installed. That holds that valve in there. So right here you can see the valve is back on, or the valve block. That right there is how the servo mount mounts, just with those 2 screws right there. And that's all that holds that. Okay, so I had it back together, and I had that valve right there. I had it turned 90 degrees. So I take the servo back off, spin it so I believe there's only one flat spot up there. Flat spot to the top. So now when I turn the pump on, the bucket doesn't move. So yeah, we'll try that out. Okay, let's try it out here. Alright, seems to be working. There doesn't seem to be any major leaks, at least. There's a little bit of wetness, but that'll be from when I had it tore apart, when I had the valves separated here. I'll just have to keep an eye on it, make sure there's no leaks, because when you take these screws out, all three of these valves do come off the main block. They do come loose. There's little O-rings in it, in between each one. Without separating them farther, you can't see them. So I assume they were all still in the correct spot when I put them back together. If they weren't, it would likely show its face right now with the first test. It would probably be pissing out pretty hard. So, but yeah, it works fine. One other thing, just so it's nice and quiet, unhook this fan for testing and video. That's that little plug right there. You will have to take off this bit right here. That's this side panel that goes right there, like that. It's got two plugs, one sound and one for the fan. The sound is terrible on this thing, I hate it. Anyways, sound plugs into the top one right there, and that's this black one, the black servo plug, and then the red JST goes right into that other one there. So yeah, other than that, it's oh, and I guess I should tell you too, it's just them two screws right there, and that whole side piece comes right off. And then I have the plate for back here. That comes off with two countersunk screws, pretty easy. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's working good, so pretty easy fix. Nothing actually broken there. Just got to put a screw back in is all. So well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this answers some questions if anybody has hydraulic problems with their 395.